Once upon a time, an orc, an elf, and a human found themselves stranded in a remote and dangerous mountain range after a massive landslide destroyed the narrow bridge they were crossing. Their path to the distant city of Ardran was now blocked by rubble, and the only way forward was to survive and find another route through the wild peaks. With supplies low and weather growing colder, they agreed to build shelter before attempting to navigate the mountains again. But each of them had a very different idea of how that should be done. "We should stay here in the valley," grunted the orc, already dragging fallen trees into a pile. "There's wood, water, space, easy to build. We don't waste time." The elf frowned and looked toward the cliffs. "Low ground is vulnerable. Rain can flood it, and we won't see danger coming. I'll climb higher and build among the rocks and trees. The wind will guide me." The human said nothing at first. He knelt, pressed his palm to the earth, and looked around, noticing the slope of the land, the way the clouds moved across the sky, and how the wildlife seemed to avoid the open space. "I'm going to search deeper into the mountains," he said quietly. "I want to find a place that will last." So they parted ways, each determined to prove their method was best. The orc built fast and furiously, with brute strength and no shortage of confidence. He chopped down trees, split logs, and raised thick wooden walls near the riverbank. By the end of the second day, he had a sturdy, heavy cabin standing proud and close to the valley's edge. The elf moved gracefully along the ridges, choosing a narrow ledge above a sheer drop, sheltered slightly by a bend in the cliffs. Using vines, smooth stones, and branches, he crafted an elegant home that seemed to float between the trees. Light, open, and connected to the land, it was a work of art as much as a refuge. The human, meanwhile, spent his days wandering. He studied wind direction, traced animal paths, and watched how water flowed after the rain. Eventually, he found a spot tucked between two hills, sheltered from wind, above the floodline, and naturally insulated by the terrain. He gathered stones and clay, dug into the slope, and began building slowly, layer by layer, thinking through every step. By the end of the week, the orc and the elf had finished their shelters. The humans was still under construction, half covered in tarps and surrounded by piles of tools and stone. "You work too slow," the orc had said, passing by. "The cold doesn't wait for careful planning. Your stone house may survive." "The wind," the elf added, "but beauty has its own strength. Nature respects grace." The human just smiled and kept working. Then the storm came. At first, just a chill in the air and a low rumble in the clouds. But by nightfall, it had turned into a mountain tempest, howling winds, lashing rain, and sudden bursts of hail that pounded the valley without mercy. The orc's cabin, built close to the swollen river, stood no chance. Water poured into the structure, and then the current ripped away one wall, then another. Within minutes, the orc was forced to flee into the night, soaked and furious. On the cliffs, the elf's home danced in the wind, until a powerful gust slammed into it like a fist. The vines snapped, a branch cracked, and the entire platform collapsed, tumbling into the forest below. The elf clung to the edge, pulling himself to safety, but his shelter was gone. The next morning, battered and cold, the orc and elf trudged through mud and stone, seeking their human companion. They followed the path into the hills until they came upon a low, solid house built partly into the earth. Its stone walls were unmoved, its clay roof untouched. Smoke drifted calmly from a chimney made of stacked bricks. The human opened the door and looked at them. He didn't smile, nor did he scold. He simply stepped aside. "Come in." Inside, it was warm, dry, peaceful. The storm still howled beyond the hills, but inside, it was quiet. The orc sat near the fire. "I built with strength, but I didn't think about where I stood." The elf wrapped a blanket around his shoulders. "I built with elegance, but I forgot that the wind doesn't care for beauty." The human stirred the fire, then looked at them both. "It's not just how we build, it's where and why." From that day forward, they worked together. The orc brought timber and the strength to move stone. The elf brought finesse, shaping the design to suit the land. The human guided them both, making sure every choice served the future, not just the moment. They built a home that didn't just survive, but thrived. A place where strength, wisdom, and beauty coexisted. Moral: skill and speed mean little without understanding. True strength lies in thoughtful action.